Good afternoon, my friends. Welcome back to the channel where another week of Premier League action has been and gone. And once again, I'm going to tell you some of the things that I noticed. So the first match that I watched was Bournemouth against Fulham. And we cannot talk about this football match without talking about Semenyo on the left wing because he was an absolute joke. His goal was ridiculous, and we'll look at it in just a second. But his form so far this season has just been immaculate. And I want to make the argument that he is in the top 3 most dangerous players in the Premier League right now. He is ruthlessly efficient, he's powerful, he's skillful, he's actually pleasing on the eye, he's good to watch. But just look at these numbers. They're an absolute joke. He is competing with the very best players in the Premier League. And that's because I think he's one of them. I do feel he's one of the best. And in particular, what I love so much is his aggression in the final third. I just love the fact that he picks the ball up and he goes at defenders. We, of course, saw that in this game, but we've seen it all season. Look at his carry map so far this season, really going into dangerous positions down that left-hand side. And what I love so much is how two-footed he is once he's in these areas. And it's difficult to get a player like that. A player who's powerful, can move at speed, can move under pressure, and is also two-footed. It's difficult to find that sort of player, but you can see from his shot spread this season that he's more than comfortable taking shots off of both feet. And obviously this week it was the goal, right? It's the goal which is really impressive, but I had to point out those numbers because he's been insane all season and last season as well, and the season before that. The goal this week is just phenomenal. Let me see if I can find a clip of it. Here it is. Here we go. It's insane. Look where he receives the ball. The fact that he's going to end up scoring from the byline without being touched is ridiculous. But he picks the ball up here, and what I love is that the first touch just sort of sets out in front of himself, puts the ball between his feet, and sort of looks at the defender and goes, you know what's happening here, right? We're going to have a little dance-off. We're going to have a little battle. And Semenyo immediately engages. He immediately goes at the man. And what I like about it is a lot of the time he's dribbling without even touching the ball. It's a lot of step overs, and when he is touching the ball, like here, it's a very small touch. He's not letting the ball move too much, and it puts the defender in almost this reactive state where he's just waiting for Semenyo to make his decision, right? With Semenyo not touching the ball, the defender is almost like frozen in his spot, and it's really difficult to defend. And the great thing about Semenyo is the way that he can burst. So he throws in the step over with the outside of the left foot, and then the second that the defender is sort of planted here, as we can begin to see, Semenyo just bursts past them. The power, the speed, the strength, but also the footwork is simply incredible. And the goal is so good. Semenyo is one of the best players in the Premier League right now, and I just had to talk about him. Next up was Chelsea against Liverpool, and every single week in Premier League football there is going to be a crisis club. A club that is struggling, who picks up a few poor results, and is the team in crisis and making the headlines. This week it's Liverpool, 3 losses in a row, and defensively they've got problems. I think a lot of people would argue, even when they were winning matches at the start of the season, they weren't playing particularly well. They've got a big problem out of possession. We associate Liverpool with being this amazing pressing team, but look at the numbers decreasing over the past few seasons, particularly under Slot, particularly this season. Liverpool are not the same intense pressing beast that they once were, and one of the reasons for that is because they always want to have this extra player on the last line over here. So they want to be 4 versus 3. If the opposition have got 3, Liverpool want to have 4 players. But if you're outnumbering the opposition here, it means you're going to be light somewhere else. And when Liverpool also have Salah, who doesn't really do too much defensive work, he doesn't track back and really help his team, not with great intensity, Liverpool have a problem. But I think the biggest problem for me is actually in midfield. We've got Gravenberch and McAllister here, 2 very good players. Neither of them are destroying midfielders, I will say that much, but they're often outnumbered in the middle of the park. Because Liverpool aren't getting pressure on the ball, which is giving the Chelsea, on this occasion, Chelsea defenders time on the ball, but also they're overloaded in midfield. That's going to cause problems. Maresca has done this to Slot 3 times now in the past 18 months. 3 times he's used a similar approach and got a pretty good performance out of his side. Now, of course, the reason why I'm talking about this is because we saw it for the amazing Caicedo goal. But look at Liverpool here. They're in a sort of 4-4-2 shape. And initially, you'll feel that they're somewhat comfortable, okay? This isn't a bad shape to be in. 4-4-2, you know, a lot of us view that as a good, solid defensive structure. And that's where Liverpool are. But the problem is, first of all, they're outnumbered in midfield. We can see that Chelsea have 3 in there, Liverpool only have 2. But also, there's absolutely no pressure on the ball at all. And the other problem is that Liverpool are overloading the last line. Slot's being a little bit cautious with his approach defensively. He's asking his defenders to overload that last line position. Now, to be fair, this pass is very difficult. You know, yes, Liverpool are overloaded. They're outnumbered in midfield, but it's still difficult to get into those positions. Szoboszlai is a good player at defending. He does close his angles quite well. So Chelsea can't move the ball straight into Caicedo. But what they can do is this, a little third man combination. If they go to the other midfielder and then drop it to Caicedo, they're going to have space. And the reason why they got so much space is because Ryan Gravenberch, defensively, his sort of defensive instinct wasn't there. He was dragged high by Enzo Fernandez. He never drops back in, nor is he covered by a centre-back, for example. And Chelsea quickly now have too many players in this position. And once that ball is played around the corner, Caicedo has freedom. He can just drive at the Liverpool defence completely unchallenged and then scores a really good goal. But it's poor from Liverpool, and it's been a problem for a while now. Now, the next match that I want to talk about was Everton against Crystal Palace. And the reason I want to talk about this game is not because Crystal Palace lost their winning streak or undefeated streak, but because Jack Grealish was given man of the match, came out and said, I didn't deserve it. Adam Wharton, playing for the opposition, did. That's a big compliment. Of course, they're England teammates, so perhaps that's why he said it. But it's a big, big compliment to say that the opposition player was the best player on the pitch. And for me, it's been the case now for some time with Adam Wharton. He's a ridiculously good footballer. He is one of the best central midfielders anywhere right now. His ability to work with the ball is an absolute joke. Now, today I haven't got clips. Instead, what I will do is sort of send you in the direction of an old video that I've done on Wharton, looking at a lot of the details of what he does on the ball. But it's a joke. His relationship with the football is insane. Now, I think when he sort of first broke through, we sort of thought of him as this player that was regularly going to drop and receive from the goalkeeper and sort of be a player that keeps you ticking over, that keeps the ball moving side to side with his good, accurate passing. But he's actually not that at all, is he? This man's an 8 at a minimum. He's a creative player. Not necessarily a creative 10 up here, but his creativity from deep is absolutely phenomenal. Look at his numbers so far this season. Once again, he's competing with some of the very best, and he's doing it from his deeper area. And it's because he's always playing that 2-3 touch football. He's always scanning. He always knows what's going on around him. So by the time he receives the ball, he already knows what the next 2 passes are. That's sort of how much information he is constantly taking in. So when he gets the ball, he's a step ahead. He doesn't need to take a touch and get his head up and have a look. He already knows where he's going. And that's why he's so effective, because he can move the ball forward so quickly. Now, of course, that means sometimes he's going to give possession away, which is why I'm saying he's not a 6. This isn't a holding midfielder who sits there. Give him the license to create for his team. Give him the license to express himself on the ball. Let him lose the ball. Let him try things, because if you do, he will produce some of the most magical passes you'll ever see off a left foot, and he's doing it regularly right now. Now, the next match that I want to talk about was the one at Old Trafford, Manchester United versus Sunderland. Of course, I did a full analysis on the main channel, which you guys can go and check out. But this game and this approach to the game from United and Amorim really got me thinking about the pressure on managers, the need for results over performance, what's more important, does it matter what club you're at? It really got me thinking, because United approached this game in mid-table fashion, if you know what I mean, traditional mid-table fashion. This wasn't a United side playing truly expressive, fast, scintillating football. It was a team that from the back played quite direct, incredibly direct, very long from the goalkeeper all the time, and also didn't press out of possession. We often sat deep. This was a United team that almost went back to basics a little bit, got numbers behind the ball, were difficult to beat, were compact, and that's absolutely a good thing, by the way. It's good to see United being this compact team is difficult to break down. But it sort of throws out that question to me, is that a sign that the manager is under pressure? Is that him trying to get results in the short term, rather than building performances, building philosophies, building ideas for the long term? Is that a manager trying to get results in the short term because he's under pressure? Or am I looking into that too much? Is there actually nothing wrong with this approach? We've seen over the past 5 seasons a real development in pressing football, possession football, moving the ball out from the back, through the phases, all of that stuff, pressing really high. But there are other ways that you can play as well. United in this game knew that the best way to win wasn't necessarily to play through the first phase and press. It was to play a more direct game, to play a second ball game, to focus on trying to win duels, forcing the opposition into those problems in the middle of the park. Not so analytical, my thoughts on this one, but that's really the point of this series that we're doing. Just anything that comes to my mind to do with a Premier League game, this is the place to talk about it. What's more important for a manager? Is it the performances over a long period of time and building to something for the future, or is it actually just getting the results when you need them? Now, the final match that I want to talk about from this weekend was Brentford at home to Manchester City. A 1-0 win for City, who I don't really want to talk about. I don't want to talk about City. I want to talk about Haaland, because the man is evolving. You know, the robots had an update or something. He is ridiculous right now, and he's been ridiculous for a few years. He's been an unstoppable force. He's getting better. He's getting better. He's becoming more complete. In the early stages of the season, I've seen several times him sort of knocking the ball between a player's leg and then dribbling past him around the outside. I've seen him becoming this more technical, expressive player. But also, physically, he might be evolving as well, which is horrifying to think about, because he is probably already the most physically dominant striker we have ever seen in the Premier League, and he's getting better. You can see here, he's almost literally asking defenders to play rough and tumble with him, because it motivates him to do even better. He has become this, don't want to sound mean here, an unstoppable freak. He is just insane, and this battle early on is phenomenal. And what it means for City is that the quality of the pass doesn't even need to be that good. You don't have to give him an inch-perfect pass. Put it within 10 yards of him, and he's sort of going to work with it and find a way to battle the centre-back. And this is the battle we're talking about here, the physical duel. And what I love about this particular part is as the ball comes over, he has this first shove with the defender. So the defender is all over him. Haaland just shoves him away. Look how much space he ends up with. He shoves him away. And not once does he back off from the physical duel. I mean, here, the defender's not even looking at the ball. He's all over Haaland, and that continues. He continues to sort of harass, to jump at him. But Haaland is so physically insane that he almost doesn't even blink at it. Not once does he look off balance. Not once does he look flustered by the situation. It's just pure control of the moment. It's controlled chaos. The way he keeps his body over the ball, I think, is really important in these moments to give himself that base to make him difficult to knock off the ball. But he doesn't even really break stride, and there's not many players in the history of football who have been able to move with this sort of size and power, withstand that amount of physical pressure from a defender, all whilst maintaining a ridiculous speed. And then it's the subtle details. You know, this right-footed sort of drag touch to keep the ball under control is really impressive, and it sets the shot up beautifully. And just all in all, this man is absolutely terrifying, and he's getting better. So those are some of the things that I learned from Game Week 7 in the Premier League. Remember, as always, this is not necessarily meant to be the most analytical content. It's just me picking up on different things in different matches, which sort of spark thoughts in my brain, and then I deliver them to you guys. I now want to hear the same from you back to me in the comments down below. What did you notice from this weekend's Premier League action? Which team and which player impressed you the most? And who are you starting to get a little bit worried about? Let me know in the comments. But apart from that, we are finished for today's video. So thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.